We're going to have a short talk, 15, 20 minutes tops, and then we go into meditation. That's what we do here. That's Thursday of the month, and I hope you're ready. We're going to talk tonight about patience and resignation, right? Patience and resignation. And we actually selected two items from the Gospel according to Spiritism, and in this chapter called Blessed are the Peacemakers. So there's a lot of blessings that comes to us once we work to have peace, find peace, and peacemakers has a little action there, makers. So we have to do something besides just looking for peace and promoting peace. We have to be part of that. That's what the world needs right now, right? We need more peacemakers. We don't need to be just successful. You know, how great is to be successful in life and have no peace, right? Your treasure is where your heart is. So that's the idea. So in these two items here, and again, the way we run our program, we bring the message, and then Chris comes and does a meditation on it. Her meditation, it's more to touch our minds, our hearts, and all of us. I'll come towards the end. I'll do like a spiritual vibration for us to close the meditation in a very spiritual note. And that's why we combine both of the meditation. It's not something that it was invented by the Spiritist doctrine, but meditation, it's been part of the world ever since we were known as, species, right? It goes beyond just being human beings. We need to have that, because without balance, not even physically, we can't function. We have to have balance in so many ways, and finding that place to deal with our thoughts. We're talking about project manager, being project manager. It's like we're multitasking, right? But we are all project managers. We are all thought managers, because we have thousands and thousands and thousands. If Peter was here, he would say that according to neuroscience, we have 60,000 thoughts that we have to, this is good, this goes to the garbage, this I'll check later, this is like, I'm not sure, this is like, it makes me feel so bad, and I couldn't even think about that other 5 pounds of thoughts that's coming my way. It's crazy, and we do that. And if we don't have ownership over, this is my house, you have to put a hammer down. This is my house. You know what? You're not going to run me. I'm going to select. You have to be natural, though. Like Natasha had a talk just about that with one time, We have to recognize, hey, say hello, hey, hi. Pretty bad. But you know what? You're here for a reason. I'll deal with you one time is right. So you recognize, let go, okay, you don't need to be here, go. So thought management, it's a very important process that we need tools. And that's when meditation comes. Meditation is, I think, is the best tool for us to do thought management and emotion management and everything that comes as a result of that. So in the Gospel according to Spiritism, in this chapter called Blessed are the Peacemakers, because we make peace with ourselves, with everyone else, with the world. We find ourselves in that beautiful spot. Guess what? It's not good if you only keep for yourself. If you cannot spread the good stuff that you have, it's really not self-sustaining. It's not sustainable, right? It's not healthy. So we have to find that. And the more you give, just like the blood, I'm a blood donor. So every 8 weeks, I donate a pint of blood, and I need to donate because I have excess of. I'm the opposite of the the people without iron, deficiency of iron, not diabetic, anemic. I'm the exact opposite of the anemic. Just like the anemic has the lack of iron and all of the good stuff that goes with it, they call it ferritin. I have my body produces too much. So if I don't get rid of that and renew the blood, guess what? It's the lungs, the heart, they start, the arteries, yeah, we start having like deposits of, and you can, have like an iron heart, for instance. And people don't even, never had like a heart issue or a cardio situation. They can just pass with that, So we have to give. The more we give, the more we receive. That's everywhere. So we selected these two items. There is one more. There's item 7 and item 8. And it says, you can read with me, pain is a blessing sent by God to all his elected. It starts kind of weird, right? Pain is a blessing. Who likes pain, right? There's wisdom. So, when you suffer, do not allow yourself to become afflicted. Rather, bless the omnipotent, which is God, who, through the pain of this world, has chosen you and I and everyone else, has chosen you to receive glory in heaven. Be patient. That's the key word here. I should have like a big highlight there. Be patient. Because this is also a charity. Everyone should practice the law of charity as taught by Christ, who is God's envoy. Charity given to the poor in the form of alms is the easiest of all. However, there is another kind of charity which is much more laborious and so consequently offers higher merit. That is also to forgive all of those placed in your pathway by God to act as instruments for your suffering and to test your patience. It ends with the patience. It's testing us. So even before we dissect this a little more, and again, it's a short talk. The keynote here is the meditation, but we wanted to have like food for thought because we're going to. We wanted for everyone to live here, ourselves to thinking, what is the meaning of suffering for me? Is this sinking? Does this make sense at all? The pain, the suffering, and that is not so terrible. It's a test for our patience. So before we even put ourselves in a situation of trying to break through and understand things, always start with a prayer. And I'm going to have a quick prayer because we always have a prayer before we actually start the work here, so our discussion. Just bow your head a little bit and let's just be grateful right now for a great Creator. We are so grateful for a loving Father who brings us to this world so imperfect but so promising. We are a work in progress in a world that is also a work in progress. You can see this through so much tribulation, so much hate, and so much violence going on around us. But we are chosen. We are His chosen ones to reflect His glory. If we analyze science, we know with facts that we are indeed a miracle. Our life in this earth, it is only possible through a very meticulous and loving engineering and mercy from a Father who wants to see His children thrive and be plenty in happiness, be plenty in intelligence, and grow until we can be even closer to Him and work with Him in in his creation, because as we know, the universe, it's immense, not to say infinite. But our own universe, our own world is so shaken by our ignorance, by our misconceptions, by our selfishness, by our intolerance, by our lack of love, our lack of balance. Let us tonight, Father, reflect upon balancing ourselves, balancing our spirit in a way that we can feel your presence even more and be more sensitive. Be more sensitive to the realities that is before us, that we are blinded by the everyday's consequences of material life, when the real life is happening in the spiritual plane, which we are part of. So thank you so much for this opportunity, for being here, and bless this message, bless our reflection tonight, and so be it. So, are we on the same page? That patience, it's a challenge. However, patience is also the key for us to transform what it looks to be a pain into a blessing. Let's see what item number 8 says, because now we're going to talk about Jesus. Right? We saw in the item 7 that Jesus was the ambassador of God. So the doctrine of Jesus constantly teaches obedience and resignation. And that's the part of obedience and resignation goes hand in hand with the patience. One cannot happen without the other. Two virtues which are the companions of mildness and activity, although man wrongly confuses them with denial of sentiment and free will, right? Because there is, let's just take a pause here. There is, when we're talking about obedience and resignation, if we're in the concept of a successful and a courageous person in the view and the values of the material, a lot of people say, you're very weak, Meek, being meek is being weak. Probably heard this, because in order for a person to be peaceful, you have to swallow a lot of frogs. You have to swallow your pride. You have to submit to something that it's not in accordance to your values. It's not in accordance to what you believe. However, the resignation doesn't mean agreement. The obedience does not mean agreement. It means that you will go through it. That means that this is a trial. When we see that as a trial, there is no way out, we have to go through. Sometimes they say trials of fire. We have to get to the other side. If we don't go through a trial and we don't go through that experience, how do we know? How do we get anything from it? So if it's there, it is ours, we have to take ownership over it. Obedience is the consent of reason. Resignation is the consent of the heart. Both are active forces, since they carry the burden which has fallen upon them due to the foolish revolt. The coward cannot be resigned, any more than the prideful and selfish can be obedient. Jesus was the very incarnation of these virtues. We stop right here, right now. We know that Jesus' mission, even if you're not a spiritual person, you're not religious, if your concept of Jesus, if your relationship, if your understanding of Jesus is just a historical Jesus, because he is a historical person, he changed the path of humanity, and that's historical. It's not even in the spiritual side, because of his moral values. But if that's the only reference anyone can have of Jesus, no one can deny no one can deny that his morals, his example, his resignation, going through everything that he went through without having 1 inch of deserving that, or 1 inch of culpability of anything that he was judged, he was crucified, he was killed. So he is the center and the peacemaker that we have as a reference. So he was all the incarnation of these virtues, which were despised by material antiquity. Still despised until these days, not just antiquity. This was written in 1860s. He came to earth at a time when Roman society was perishing in the failings of corruption. He came so that even the bosom of depressed humanity, the triumph of sacrifice, and the renouncement of sensuality would shine forth. So all of this stuff, all of this, everything that we see happening right now, it was there on Jesus' time. The Romans were known to be very materialistic. They were the dominant race there, and they spread their morals. Their morals were very, very shameful. They were the best in the military. They're best in conquering and power, but that was about it. So when Jesus comes, in that time, he is faced with that sort of world, that sort of humanity. So it was important and necessary that he went through all of that to leave a living example. It's not just like he's doing the talk, he's doing the walk. So with that, I'm going to invite our friend Christiane to take this all in and bring us to a meditation. I'll come later.
Well, hello, everybody. So nice to see you all here. I'm going to piggyback on that obedience is about the reason behind it. We got to use our cognition and think about why we have to obey. We have to obey the need to turn your AC on because it's summer. It is a simple fact. You have to put a sweater on if you are in Boston and it's winter. It's just reason. It is what it is. We don't throw a fit. It just is what it is. But then we have the resignation, which is more about the heart. That is when my feelings, the way my story goes, that I add that. This is why we add things differently. Some of us, when faced with something very hard at a certain time of the life, we kind of find a way and keep on going. And some of us just say, I just can't. And we just decide not to do it. Why is that? It's because based on our story, based on how we've experienced things before this very moment, it will affect on how we respond today. And it would take a lot of new trials for us to find our ways. And this is part of the beautiful need of using patience. Because we will learn. We have an eternity to learn. We know that. And sometimes we don't go at the pace that we would love to go. I'm going to share a story. I lived in Australia 35 years ago. And back then, there was no such thing as cell phones, or we wrote letters. And because writing a letter would take so long to get from Australia to Brazil, I didn't want to waste my letter by writing something and then have to write another one next week. So I wrote a letter for an entire month. Throughout the weeks, I would think, I want to write about this. So I would go then write one sentence of something that happened that week. So my letter would go in stages. So I would, by the time I had like 3 pages, I felt like it was worth mailing it because then I had enough to talk about. because the phone call was $1.50 a minute, and that was a lot of money. We didn't want to waste our money there. So that required patience, because I knew I want to share that story. But I knew also that I had to obey the reason, which was it will take a month for this letter to get there. So I used my thinking, my cognition, my reason, my resignation to say, if I write the relevant things a little bit every day, by the time I mail this, when my family, when my friends get this letter, they will get a full picture of what I'm living here. And that made me feel that my patience was worth waiting for. But because now the way we live life, everything is tum, tum. You put your finger on one key and magically the other person already has all the information needed. We learn to go faster. So when we talk about patience, it's counterintuitive at this day and age when everything is so fast-paced, when life happens in a minute. You want something, you just push a button and you order. Sometimes it gets there before 24 hours. It's great when you really need that something. But it's kind of scary because it trains you to be faster and expecting. And then, oh, check, I already did that, checked. So in 1 hour, you can check so many boxes when we used to do one little box at a time because life, the pace was slower. If you're old enough to have watched the show Kung Fu, you would know that sentence that goes, patience, grasshopper, patience. If you are not old enough, you go to YouTube and you Google, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love this guy who was trained to be more patient until he was ready for what the job was. It's just a little side note here. And because we...
Star Wars too.
Darth Vader.
He was in a hurry to have power. When he was a Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Jedi.
Skywalker. So this today everything is fast-paced. We want to go slower, but the world invites us to go fast. So it's up to us to reason how valuable it is to go slower. And when we're talking about mental health, let's talk about the health of the mind, which is a more positive connotation for this. A great way, again, me and strategies, a great way to keep your slower pace, processing your feelings, processing your thoughts, is not the voice text, and the text writes for you, is a pen and a notebook. It takes a lot longer for you to write words instead of type them. And when you, coming from an occupational therapist, when you use fine motor skills to actually form letters, it sits better and it processes better your feelings. Having a journal on your phone is great because it's handy. I have one so I don't forget what I want to write. But then it used to be every day, but now it's once a week that I get my real journal and I write my week. I look at my perspective app journal, and from that I remember, and then I write from the heart with my cursive. Maybe not everybody does cursive anymore, but you do your cursive handwriting, and that's when you process things better. So a journal is your best friend, and also it teaches you that time frame. When you're going through very hard times, if you haven't been there yet, you will. It will give you a chance to write things that you don't even want to write. But then the beauty of it is 6 months later, or 10 years later, or 30 years later, when you open that journal, oh my God, look at this, I did it. And And I remember how I felt, and you feel so much better because it too shall pass. But you're also gonna cherish the things that you wrote that was fun. And you remember doing this with your dog. Oh, I remember that dog. Oh, it was so nice to have, So the journal touches your heart. So if you have never tried a real journal with pen and paper, go ahead and try. You will love it. And once you get that habit, it will stay with you. So it's something great to have. And because the journal is such a pretty thing and writing is such a pretty thing, our meditation tonight is going to be a writing fun meditation in your head. Okay? So we are going to turn the lights off, put some music on. Everybody is gonna shake, shake, shake. Get your shoulders up and down. Shake it off. Shake everything you don't want there off. Deep breath. And blow. Let it go. Deep breath in. If you can close your eyes. If not, just lower your gaze and feel your breath. You can put your hand on your chest and your belly if you want to feel your breath. Make your belly grow. Let your belly flatten and feel the warmth of your heart. Inhaling and exhaling. Grateful we are for this moment. Grateful we are for being here tonight. Grateful we are for our guardian angel that watches over each one of us, protecting us, supporting us in our journey, cheering us all the way. It is a warm day, actually a perfect day. I find myself in this vast meadow, beautiful trees, butterflies, birds chirping in the distance, reminding me that all is well. I carry with me my notebook. This notebook is very special to me. I carry with me my pen that writes softly. I keep on walking until I find a big tree and a very comfortable nook where I sit and lean back. It fits me perfectly. I fold my legs and rest my journal, my notebook, on my legs. This is a perfect writing spot. Today, I've decided to write a very special letter to a very special little person that is always in a hurry, always questioning himself, herself, full of doubts and questions, but also full of curiosity. That little person that lives inside me. Today, my letter goes to that little person that is always with me. I look over my shoulder and my guardian angel is smiling. I guess he approves of my decision. I feel the arms and energy of my guardian angel over my shoulders, encouraging me to write. I'm at peace. I will obey the season. I will show resignation towards the story that brought me here. I start my letter. Dear me, I am so happy you live inside me. The words flow on a paper, and I giggle a little bit. I have so much to say. Remember that one time when you were playing outside and you were running around and you were so happy. Remember that? I never forget that moment. Remember that day you got sad and you were hurting? I remember too. All the moments, all the stories. Today, I'm gonna write them all down. The ones that warm my heart, the ones that make me feel uncomfortable, and the ones that bring hope to my heart. Dear me, I promise to not forget you, to honor your feelings, to validate your journey, and to cherish every moment that you go through during this journey. When you go through pain, I want you to remember that it's a privilege, because that pain will be your chance to learn new ways of doing things. And that will make you grow spiritually, emotionally, and your heart will be more forgiving towards others that are also going through pain. Dear me, I will not forget your pain. I will hold your hand and I'll help you through it. Dear me, I will be with you at night when you lay awake and worried. And I am gonna sing you a lullaby, the same one that you used to love. Dear me, I will not forget your needs. The words keep coming. So many memories. Such a beautiful story. A story of somebody who is trying, who is falling and getting up again, who is finding light in the path. I have so much more to write, and I don't have to finish it today. I can choose to write a little bit more tomorrow, next week, whenever I want. Dear me, it makes me feel so good to put my feelings on paper. Makes my heart lighter and more appreciative of the journey. I will keep on writing. I have more feelings to pour into this book. I take a deep breath and I feel content. I softly close the book, clip the pen on it, run my hands on the cover. This is my story, and it's worth writing. I feel a light warm, coming from up above, coming down through the crown of my head, silver sparkles wash over my body. The light travels from the crown of my head through the throat, the heart, the belly, the pelvic, the sacrum bone. It amplifies and warms my whole body. I thank my guardian angel for the warmth that takes over me. I thank for the connection with the God that watches over me. I am at peace. The love of God covers me from head to toe. My hands over the book remind me once again, this is a divine story that is worth writing about. This is my book of love, of joy and growth. The warmth expands a little more, covering the whole metal, finding the ones I love, my family, my friends, my community, all those that I touch by being alive, by being who I am. My life story is worth living, is worth sharing with those around me. It helps them recognize who they are by watching me be who I am. The same way I learn to watch those around me and learn from them. Grateful I am for my life story. Grateful I am for the feelings in my heart that can be put into words to help me understand my path. I will find my way and I will write about it because my life is worth writing about. I stand up, feeling light and at peace. The love of God is with me, and that is enough. I walk until I find myself back here, sit back in a chair, feeling that the moments I spent with myself gave me the power to transform my way of looking at my life. And I vow to do that again whenever my heart desires. I'll write on my book all the words that are in my heart.
As we meditate on patience, on resignation, the light in the direction that we receive through thoughts and inspiration, as the message read, in pain we are blessed. We are so blessed because in it there is the glory of God. As Jesus taught us in the Gospel of John, the cure of the blind man that was blind since he was born. When asked whether that man was a sinner or was his parents who sinned against God, Jesus responded, No, he was born blind because in him there's the glory of God, so he can show the glory of God. So in turbulences, in illness, in sickness, in any kind of infirmity that we are surprisingly hit by, brought to a place of depression and profound dissatisfaction with life, profound dissatisfaction with anything because we are in a situation of suffering. At that time, that is where we are called to be closer to God. It is our body who is suffering. It is our choice to amplify that suffering and be miserable about it, and let that pain go deeper than it should. It is at that time that we must choose the path of resignation, the path of patience, because it is going to pass. It is not inflicting in your spirit in who you really are. It is just a trial, a test in which our patience, our resignation is tested. At that very same time, let's not lose faith, let's not lose hope. Let's pray from the bottom of our souls and be closer to the one who has all the power to make all the suffering go away. Even though our body might be perishing, our material self, it's in difficulty. It is not the same as we once were, but that is just the insignificant part of who we really are. When Jesus told his disciples that blind man was that way because in him the glory of God is reflected. That is the opportunity of each one of us. Just like that blind man, we have the opportunity to be closer to God and hear with ears to hear, with reason, that there is much more. If we're going through a test, if we're going through a trial, it's because there will be an end, and there will be a decision, a final, a judgment. It's going to be a finale in which we are part of, and we want to come in the other side lighter, freer, in peace. So let's reflect about the mercy that is poured on us every single day. Out of so much imperfection, God finds so much potential, so much greatness in who we are, and we're never, ever abandoned. We're never left alone. We just need to, through meditation, through prayer, to open our hearts, have that resignation. Oh God, I'm going through this. This is so hard. This is so hard. I know you said that those who want to follow you, we have to negate ourselves. We have to refuse ourselves. Fire the old me. Take me out of the center and pick up my cross and go with you. I know that cross, it's so much mistakes and so much errors and so much ignorance, actions that I have inflicted upon others and impacted so many lives in the past, that I'm so blessed that I don't need to leave that every day. But I know I do have a cross to carry, and I do want to follow you. I want to get to the other side. It is heavy. I ask you, God, can you please take a little bit of the weight that is in that, so I can I can go farther. Please, I'm begging you. Take a little bit of the weight so I can follow you better. Thank you so much for everything that I receive. I want to be less of a taker and more of a giver, with patience and resignation. Thanks for taking the weight that I ask you. Thank you for hearing me, for giving me love and bringing me spiritual friends who inspire me with good thoughts of patience and serenity. I feel myself so serene now. And in that prayer that's so strong, I always will carry it with me. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today, Lord, our daily bread, and forgive our trespasses, for so many debts we have accumulated. The same way that we forgive those who had offended me, those who are my debtors. How good am I to ask for forgiveness if I cannot forgive? Let forgiveness be my freedom. Let forgiveness be abundant inside of me so I can give more than I need to receive. It is in giving that we receive. It is in dying the old self that we live forever in peace. And we give, and we find, and we are with you. Let us not fall into temptation, the temptation of being too comfortable, to do it later, not to resign now. I can make a different choice later. Let us not be in that spirit of laziness and conformity of things the way they are. Let us shake up. Let us move on, pick up ourselves, and keep going. That cross needs carrying, and we will carry it. And we will carry it with you, so it will be lighter, and we will do it. Let us not fall into so many temptations there is for us not to fulfill our destiny of plenty happiness. Because you not only promised us, you already gave to us. We just need to go for it. Get to the end of this journey much better than the way we enter it. For you, God, all the glory, all the kingdom, all the justice, all the love. Let us love, receive, and give love, and reflect you. Be your image, just like Jesus asked us to do. Not just be the blind, but be your glory. Live through faith to hope and actions of doing things and helping others, helping ourselves as much as we can, every day. And so be it. In your peace, we receive. In your peace, we give. Thank you. And so be it.